G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. Now today we are going to have a look at installing a Deepin. Now Deepin, I've always wanted to show how to install Deepin on multiple partitions. Now that's what I do on my laptop that's got maybe 10 partitions or maybe a little bit more or less. So I'm going to show you how to install Deepin. The best way to do that was on Virtualbox. It's very hard to give a good quality video on an install when you can't record it, especially Deepin, because they don't have a live desktop. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at Deepin, and I just thought it was worthwhile showing the download scenario. Now we have Deepin 15.8 here, and we have also the download here. So if we click on download, now normally I would click on download here, which is what I did, and it downloads via the browser, and it was up to something like 7 days to download. So I just thought I'd look around a little bit more, and we've got down here, we've got download here. So if we click on that, maybe that's not correct. If we click on mirrors, so if we click on the mirrors, so then you get a choice of countries. So there's countries here. Now I'm going to look for Australia. Now under Australia, I think that's the heading because there's no HTTP or anything there. So what I did is look for the RNet, which is what I use when I set up Linux Mint. You'll find RNet within the mirrors on Linux Mint, so I'm very familiar with that one there. So if you click on that, then you click on, now I've got to remember how this worked. I think it was parent directory, I think, and then there's Deepin. No, parent directory, Deepin CD. There we go. And then you've got the 15.8 here and Deepin 15.8 ISO. Now that thing downloaded in like 18 minutes or something like that, so it was really quick. So just keep that in mind when you're downloading Deepin, because they do have other mirrors. It's not obvious when you go to their web page. It's not very obvious at all. So that's the first time I've discovered that. Some people could really benefit from that scenario there. So that's the first thing I thought I would cover. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, well, I've got Virtualbox open. Now I've got this called a dual boot. So I'm going to start that up, and you'll see I've got a menu here. I've got Peppermint, and I'll log into Peppermint. And there we are in a Peppermint desktop, so we'll shut that down. Let's start that up again. And we have also Lubuntu. So as you can see, I've got a dual boot going on here under UEFI in Virtualbox. So if I log into Lubuntu there, and there we go. Now it was full screen, now it's not full screen. Full screen is irrelevant. I'm not really doing any review on this at all. I'm just it's not part of the scenario here. So we'll shut that down. Okay. So now what we want to do is go to the dual boot settings and go to storage and click on empty and go and look for Deepin 15.8, which I have hooked it up before, so let's go OK. So I just wanted to give the scenario of I've got the 512 FAT32 boot partitions, and I've also got the other partitions ext4. So and even though this is only 3 partitions here, including, well, 6 including the FAT32, but it does offer the same scenario as if I was doing it on my test laptop with about 13 or whatever it is. So there's many there. So now we can do this with the Deepin desktop. So we install Deepin. Okay, so we'll choose English here and go next. Now they've got this end user license agreement here on Deepin. I'm speed reading right now, and yep, I'll accept that. I'll accept anything because you can't use it unless you do. Yeah, using a virtual machine which will affect the system performance and operation experience. For a smooth experience, it is recommended to install Deepin in real machine environment, which I will do. I'm just going to show you how to do this first. So I'll put my real name, and then the first letter must be lowercase. Oh, hang on, was that colon? Yeah. And then that will be Deepin, say, and password. Okay, let's go next. And we'll go Perth, Australia. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So, and this is what I wanted to show. This is what I wanted to showcase on Deepin, is the fact that it shows you Peppermint 9, Ubuntu 18.10, which is the Lubuntu, and then you've got 511. So those two are both being used. I know that for a fact. I think it's those two anyway. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's those two. So if it's on 2 uses 1. If it's on, this is on SDA 6, so that's using 5. So those two are being used. And then we've got SDA 3 is available. So I'm going to go to advanced. Now I want to use, so that's on 2 and 1. Lubuntu's on 6 and 5. So we want to go to SDA 4, which is available. We click on this little thing here, file system ext4. Mount point will be root. Format the partition and OK that. So you can see it's not very outstanding that, but it says install here. And 4 will use 3, so we'll click on that little edit depiction there. It's the file system UEFI or EFI. Yeah, that's correct. We could probably format that as well. It is a fresh one, so it probably doesn't need formatting, but I'll do that anyway. To be formatted, yep. And now we can start installation. So one error found, fix to continue, at least 16 gigabytes is required. Okay, so I must have used, I've used the 25 gig for Ubuntu, so I shouldn't have done that. Right. Okay, so what we shall do is click on this one and mount point root and format and OK. And then we'll go UEFI, that there, format the partition, OK. I'm not sure how we deal with this one, probably just unformat probably. Okay, so unformat is not doing anything, so to be formatted and install here. Okay, so unfortunately I won't have the Lubuntu. I didn't think about that when I installed it, to be honest. So a bit of an error on my part there, but that's all right. We'll still have a dual boot with Peppermint 9 anyway. So, but I think you get the gist of what's going on here on the Deepin installation. So let's start install. So the following operations will be executed. Please confirm and continue to avoid data loss. Yep, 6 and 5. Yep, and let's continue that. Okay, so we have successfully installed Deepin 15.8. Now, a couple of things I'd like to mention now that that's done is what a beautiful way to present the disk partitions on a manual install. It's just very user-friendly, very nice to look at. But on the other side of the coin, end user license agreement, a EULA, really? Do we really need those in Linux? I don't know. So maybe somebody can explain that to me. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that it's from China, or they're very commercial in China or something. I'm not sure. So just some things to consider, because no doubt the WPS Office program, that has an end user license agreement as well. So there's 2 EULAs already within this operating system, so that's just one thing that I'm not sure about there. But anyway, so we shall remove the installation media before we reboot. Force unmount, yep, and let's experience now. So now we have the boot screen for Deepin and Peppermint. So let's just check out Peppermint. Now, you're quite often find with UEFI, you've seen we had the Peppermint boot screen before. Now, whatever was the last one installed is the boot screen you're using. So, so there's Peppermint untouched, and that would have been the same for Lubuntu as well. Now, what we can do is we can actually install Lubuntu. Doesn't take long. So we go to storage and hook up the Lubuntu one. But the only problem is there, we're not going to have that beautiful boot screen. We'll have the Lubuntu one probably. Not that there's anything wrong with that one, but I mean the Deepin one is very well presented, I must say. So I might have to fast forward all this and just decrease the length of the video at least anyway. So we'll manual partition. Now that's the problem with this one. Oh, actually, sorry. It does tell you up here, Deepin is the dark blue, which is the 6. Peppermint is the green, which is the 2. So we're going for the 4 and the 3. So that's edit that. Choose your partition, edit that. That will be ext4 with the mount point of root. And edit this one as well, the FAT32, edit that. That will be FAT32 boot EFI. Okay. And go next. Just put my name in there. And just go. We'll go colon Lubuntu, and then we'll put a password, Okay, and go next. And it'll tell you here what it's doing there to make sure that you're putting them on the right disk. I'm pretty sure I am, so let's go, install now. So that's Lubuntu installed. We shall restart that now. And now we've got a different boot menu, as you can see. So we'll boot into Lubuntu first. So it seems as though it's not picking up the Lubuntu install, so we need to log into Peppermint, and we'll just do a probe for the installed distros there. And it's found them both, and then we'll do sudo update grub2. I do grub2 these days. I think it doesn't matter, grub2, I think it's the same. So they've found that, so we can restart, reboot Peppermint, and we should have a menu. So I've gone into Deepin recovery because it's not booting, and Lubuntu is not showing up either. And the Peppermint, the Lubuntu, after shutting down, the Lubuntu boot menu didn't show up either. So I'm going to try and repair grub with the Deepin recovery. Let's press the tab key and OK that. Resume normal boot. So I may have to shut the machine down. We'll power that off and see if we get a menu in there. There's Ubuntu now it's showing up. So what I did was I went to advanced options and I did the recovery boot. Just press escape to go back. So let's just see if Deepin will boot. It's there, just not booting. It might be a Virtualbox thing. It does not like Virtualbox at all, and it might even be the EFI on Virtualbox messing it up. No, it definitely doesn't want to boot. So let's just check our Lubuntu boots up. So as you can see, Lubuntu is booting, not a problem. Okay, so there's Lubuntu, and Peppermint's booting without a doubt, so there's no problem there as well. So the problem is between Deepin and the Virtualbox, no doubt. It's a successful install as far as dual booting is concerned. It's just not a successful install with Deepin itself. If we go back to advanced options, try the recovery mode again. Let's just check the file systems. So finish, press enter. Okay. So that doesn't want to reboots. We'll just power that down. So as you can see, Peppermint has not been affected. Deepin has been installed. It just doesn't want to start. That's only Virtualbox, that's fine. I just wanted to show you how to install Deepin in a multi-boot situation. So that's how it's done. Now, I'll just try it one more time. I don't think it'll boot anyway. No. Oh, well, there we go. It's booting. Okay. We'll choose the common mode for Virtualbox, I think it is. Okay, so there we have a Deepin desktop installed in a multi-boot. So I don't know what the problem was there. Let's just close that and shut this down. Shut down. Sounds like they got a new shutdown jingle. And just will start up one more time. So running the grub boot repair on the recovery has brought it back to using the Deepin grub menu rather than the other ones, which is handy. So Peppermint should still be booting. We'll just double check that. And we know Lubuntu's booting, so there we go. We've got our multi-boot situation going on. Couple of hiccups, but it worked. So now what we're going to do is we're going to install Deepin the normal way. So this is the way if you had a laptop with a hard drive, you've backed up all your documents and everything on your computer and you're willing to wipe your disk clean completely and just install Deepin. Well, this is the way you go about it. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? That's the username, is it? I keep thinking it's your real name. This must be the username. So you got your free space. We're going to use the simple mode. That's install here. Full disk. So I think you can encrypt full disk. We'll just use the simple mode. Please make sure important data were made and a backup, then select the disk to install. So yeah, we just click on that and it says install here and we'll start installation. And what it's going to do is create a partition, ext4. Yep, let's continue that. And it should make its own swap anyway, I believe. Okay, so we have a successful install. We shall remove the media and remove the disk, force unmount, experience now. Deepin. So I'm just interested to see what it has as far as swap and all that's concerned. What it's done in common mode. What it's done for the swap amount and all that bizzo. So we may have to do, let's go to terminal, Deepin terminal, lsblk. So it hasn't made a swap at all, that's interesting. Okay, so we have a quick look at gparted here, and I can see that there is no swap partition there, so that's interesting. If that's on EFI, maybe that's the reason. I'm not sure. I would have thought it would have made a swap partition, but maybe they don't do that these days. Maybe it doesn't need to. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure about that. That is the simple way of installing Deepin 15.8. So that was a couple of scenarios of installing Deepin 15.8. One way on Multiboot under EFI, and also simple mode under EFI. There will be also a follow-up video on looking around the desktop that will be on real hardware, which I'll be installing sometime after this video. So, but I can't do it with this video, otherwise it'll be way too long. So I hope you found this very informative and interesting. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.